Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, music lovers, and of course, our beloved audiophiles. Today, I'll be reviewing the Icon Audio HP8 Mark II headphone amp. I hope you enjoy it. The Icon Audio HP8 Mark II is a tube-based headphone amp designed in England by David Shaw. It uses an ECC83 tube in the first gain stage, which then drives 6 SN7 tubes, or valves if you prefer British English. The 6 SN7s are then fed into a multi-tap output transformer. This multi-tap transformer is a nice feature because it allows front panel switchable output impedance to match the different impedances of headphones from, say, 8 ohms up to 1000 ohms. The form factor is quite compact for a tube amp, at least in my experience. In fact, it's moderately compact for any dedicated headphone amplifier. It measures a bit over 6 inches wide and 10 inches deep. In standalone headphone systems, the HP8 accepts analog inputs from your DAC or streamer or a phono preamp, and can also be configured at a small extra cost for Bluetooth operation if you've recently lost your hearing sensitivity. Icon points out that in standard in-room stereo systems, the inputs can be connected to the record out or the preamp out of your electronics, so that you have input switching as needed from the preamp or receiver or integrated amp, as you may wish. I tested the David Shaw Signature Edition, which has special Mundorf capacitors and upgraded tubes. The Signature Edition is $2,250 US, which is a $300 upcharge. Just a brief interruption, esteemed viewers. As you may know, I'm Tom Martin, Chief Content Officer of The Absolute Sound. We have a new product. It's on the Substack platform, and we're going to do some interesting things with Substack. First of which is reader questions and answers. Each Monday, readers will submit questions. We'll pick the most interesting ones and we'll answer the questions on Friday. We'll also have early access to articles and special blogs that don't appear anywhere else. We hope you'll join us. It's only a cost of a cup of coffee per month. Just check on the screen or in the show notes below. Thanks, and now back to the show.
Let's talk about sound quality, which is, after all, what we're really here to talk about.
The HP8 Mark II does some sonic things that I believe will make it an ideal partner for many headphones. As a reference, I listen to headphones from Focal, Meze, DCA, and Hi-Fi Man, all of which are in the $2,000 to $6,000 range. I listen to a bunch of tracks from Bill Frisell, Pearl Jam, Taylor Swift, Santana, Bebe, Shostakovich, Ivor, The Black Keys, Daft Punk, Waxahachie, Charles Lloyd, Herlin Riley, Samantha Fish, Bruckner, and SZA. I like to imagine hosting a party for all those artists, but really what I'm trying to do is cover a pretty wide range of musical styles, frequencies, recording capabilities, so that I can honestly assess what I think the amp does. All right, back to reality from my imagined party. To understand the HP8 Mark II, let's start with our frenemy, the Harman curve. Assuming the Harman curve is right, tracking this shape is just plain hard for headphone makers, at least without DSP. What this often means is that headphones designed to be reasonably flat above 2 kHz will probably have a few peaks in the upper mid to treble range where tracking the Harman curve is imperfect. This will lead to an occasionally, or in some cases often, bright sound on some instruments on some recordings. And, continuing our theme of some, for some listeners, this brightness will be a cause of consternation. This is especially so for those headphones that otherwise are engaging and compelling. So close, and yet. The big thing about the Icon HP8 Mark II is that it smooths out some of these peaks that are caused by not tracking the Harman curve perfectly without making the music dead or even that noticeably altered. Now, maybe the bevy of solid-state amps I have in the lab are transiently imperfect and I've just gotten used to them, but I doubt it. Or maybe the HP8 has some brilliant tone shaping that makes headphone treble peaks more listenable. I think that's the case here. Now, there are limits to what the HP8 can do. Some headphones have peaks in the treble that are 10 dB off the Harman curve. There are a bunch of these. I would say that those are headphones you simply should avoid. But if you take a superb headphone like the Dan Clark Audio E3, the Icon takes the E3's slight treble lift and makes it more musically right. At the same time, the Hi-Fi Man Susvara seems to lose none of its prized treble definition and sweetness. Next up, I'll say that the Icon seems to have more than ample drive for any headphone I tried. It's rated at over 800 milliwatts into each of the switchable headphone impedance ranges. If we take 90 dB at 1 milliwatt as a low sensitivity, then the Icon should have plenty of drive for just about anything. And it sounds like it does. The nice thing here is that the HP8 Mark II sounds naturally dynamic. It has natural dynamics even with difficult headphones. Music is punchy and lively without being piercing or strident or confused. The Dan Clark Audio E3s and the Susvaras seem to come alive in my listening sessions. I do think many excellent products have a quality that is make or break, and by that I mean a quality that divides listeners into lovers and haters, or maybe more accurately, those who think that's great and those who think nice, but I have reservations. In the case of the HP8 Mark II, I think that is the rather analog sound of the amp that will be the dividing point between listeners. The HP8 is quite clear and has good instrumental separation, but it doesn't quite deliver the micro detail or sense of so-called black backgrounds and openness that you find with the best current digital signals, and to some degree with optical cartridges playing vinyl. Some listeners view this high-res digital level of clarity as cold or artificial, while others prize it and its revelatory nature. In the case of the HP8 Mark II, the sound is distinctly analog in character, something I think many listeners will love. Let's summarize. Well-designed headphone amplifiers shouldn't vary too much, and yet they do have their distinctive qualities. The Icon Audio HP8 Mark II is musical and dynamic and expressive in a way that I think will satisfy many listeners on almost any good dynamic headphone they choose, either now or in the future. That's quite an achievement. I also think the Icon HP8 is an impressive value. I know $2,000 is real money, but many great amps are 2 to 4 times as much. If you want an analog-oriented amp that's flexible and engaging, this is one you need to try. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please click on the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and if you check in the description, you'll find a link to subscription to our weekly newsletters. They're free. And as always, we would love it if you would join us by subscribing to the Absolute Sound magazine. We've been publishing it for over 50 years, and it has some of our flagship material inside. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon.